Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel Planet Build, and welcome to another episode of Sunshine Scandinavia. First of all, before we're going to start this video, have you noticed that there is another intro in my video? And it was kind of funny because it's mostly funny because of the music in it, and I was laughing so hard at myself by actually putting that music under my intro, and it was so funny that I decided to keep it and use it for my videos. So I decided to make a new intro, mostly because the first intro that I got was made back in April or May last year, and that was probably the beginning of my channel, and I didn't had a lot of experience with photo and video editing, so and also I got a lot of footage right now of the things that I built so far in Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster. So putting those things together with some new styles, maybe decide to make a new intro. So that's what I did. But enough talks about the new intro. Let's go ahead and start working on the new area over here, which we already started working on in the last video. And you see the right side over here with the Coral Reef Hotel. As I said in the last video, this will be the entrance area for a whole new section over here. Be sure to check out the video on the things that we built so far on this side. But a small recap, there will be 2 coasters over on the right side here. There will be a lot of flat rides over here. And I'm going to put in the Coral Reef mining attraction that I built in the beginning of Planet Coaster 2. And I do need to work on that blueprint because it's over 4,000 pieces, but I'm probably going to add it in 2 or 3 sections. So that requires some work just to put it in all the way over on this section. But today we're going to focus on the left side of this entrance area for the new area, and that will be similar themed as the one on the left side, on the right side that we did last video, with lots of coral elements, the black rocks, some water elements, and that is the main theme that I want to create for this whole new area, to give it a underwater vibe theming with lots of corals and lots of water and lots of water elements in it. And something I did add after the last video, and that is there are 2 splash pads over here which synchronize with the attraction. When the attraction comes down, they also blow water out of a hole, and I think that gives a nice little detail to this attraction over here. So let's just go ahead and focus on the left side over here. And someone did mention in the comments on the last video that it would be fine to hear a little bit more of the decisions I make when it comes to building the things that I build. So I'm going to try to do that while I'm speed building. So let's just get right into it. Now, I did use a lot of rock work already in the first video of this whole new area, so it's quite easy to use those rocks again. And I must say that I was in doubt about which rocks would fit perfectly with the theming, and I'm quite happy that I chose for the tropical rock boulder in this case, because the dark just blends in nicely with the color of the water. And as you can see over here, the grass is still the default green grass as you know it when you open the sandbox mode. And I'm a big fan of just editing the different styles of terrain that you can use. So I mostly use the gravel and the sand as a base, and then on top of that I'm going to add some darker details to the color of the landscape over here with the rock, not the rough rock, but just the rock one. And I think that just blends in nicely with the dark rocks, but also with the coral effects when they do have the glow in the dark effect in the dark. So I think, yeah, the choice of using those tropical rock boulders just worked out quite well. And what I usually do when I start a new area like this is just thinking in my head and brainstorming about the attractions that I want in it, the way I'm going to landscape it, or even if I'm going to landscape it, how I'm going to landscape it. Because you can use a flat terrain, but you can also add in some mountains or a little bit a height in your terrain. And then afterwards, I'm just going to lay down some path work just to see which spaces will evolve in that landscape area and which spaces I'm going to use for any attractions. So it's just a small brainstorm session of, placing down some attractions and maybe some pre-built coasters just to see how they would blend in with the rest of the park. And then eventually, the way that I come to this type of builds is just by going from a bigger picture to just a smaller picture. And what I mean by that is that you got the big work like the path work, the places where you put down the attractions, the trees that you use. That's just a big picture of the way you want to create your area. But then eventually, when you got the path work in, which is a huge part of your area, you got the attractions in, then it's time to start working on some big trees. Just in this case, I'm first placing some big trees just to see how they would blend in with the environment, and then afterwards go from the big trees to the small bushes, to the small rocks, and then eventually to the small details, in this case the coral. And that's basically the way I set up my builds and place down those new areas. And when I do place down foliage, as I said, I'm first starting with some big trees just to see how they would blend in with the environment. But I also put the same tree type next to each other, so you can see a lot of couples in here with the same types of trees. The only thing that I do is just resize those trees and turn them around, not to make them look the same. They're the same type though, but they I think that blends in more when you just resize one and put it in front of the other, just to give it a little bit more perspective in the planners that you make. And I can't wait for Planet Coaster to have more DLC. I was a big fan of all the trees and the bushes and stuff like that was in Planet Zoo. There were so many pieces that you can use, and still there are a lot of pieces in Planet Coaster 2, but I think the more trees and the more different types of trees and bushes and planters you got, there cannot be enough. So I'm a big fan of that. So I can't wait for any DLC in the future to come, and hopefully that will add some nice new types of trees and foliage. So let's just slow it down over here and see what we did already. And as you may have noticed, it didn't take me that long to create the environment over here on the left side. And that is mostly because I already used those pieces on the right side over here. And that is mostly because I think that is the way that I do build my parks. When I start a new area, it usually takes about 2 or 3 hours to get some ideas, put some pieces together, change the color of it, and just go ahead and see what those pieces do together to create an environment like this. And once you get the hang of it and you use a lot of pieces already, you can just easily go ahead and reuse them in another section and just turn them around and resize them. And I think that just speeds up the process of creating the left side over here, which we have already done in a couple of minutes. Now there are still some things to do in this park over here, or in this section over here. You know, the easy part is just copying all those elements, those rocks, the foliage, and just putting them together. What I find important is that there is a good transition between the foliage use for the Viking team, which is connected to the tropical team over here, and the tropical team itself. So, and that's a thing that you have to put in some more energy just to get a nice switch between the foliage use of the Viking area over here, which definitely has different types of trees, and the area where you use the palm trees and the tropical trees and stuff like that. So we're going to work on that one later. And now we still need to have a entrance building for both the attractions. I'm going to use one building for 2 entrances over here. Probably going to copy this one just to make it easy on myself and do a little bit of a retheming on the building. But as I may have said in the other videos that I make, it doesn't take me long to create an environment and use foliage and rocks, but I do need to take a lot of time on making my custom building. So I'm very grateful that there are a lot of pre-built blueprints in the game, and there are some amazing people uploading tons of buildings onto the workshop. So props for those people. So we got the building over here, which still needs to be placed, and I'm thinking about a way to give a little bit more theming to the big wheel and the small, in this case tiny eye attraction over here. I think I'm not quite sure, but maybe I'm going to keep this theming over here. And one of the things that I already did while preparing some scenery pieces for this area are these balloons over here and the palm trees. And you know, this is a small children attraction, so maybe I'm going to put those elements over into this section. And I think I can use them in the water because this one has a moving element in it, but it has to be in a larger pool. So I'm still thinking about that one, how I'm going to create that one. And once this area is finished, we're going to work on the bridge to enter the new section over here, which will be the area also for the coral reef mining. Now let's just go ahead and start the speed build for the last foliage over on this side to cover up the area between the Viking and the new area that we're building, and then we're going to add in the coral reef mining attraction. Now, like I said many times in my videos, I'm not that kind of a builder, so I mostly reuse the buildings that I build, just like in this case with the round building that I used for the entrance earlier. And I do need to say that since the beginning of Planet Coaster 2, I am getting more used to the path work. It sometimes does glitches, but I'm quite happy with the way you can use those paths. The only problem I do have is when I want to blend in two types of paths, just like the two types of brown path that you got in the center of this area. It doesn't give you the nice round shapes that you want immediately. So when you use the draw tool to merge another path into that whole new area, it's not that smooth as you want it to be. And now I know you can use the rounding tool just to smoothen out those edges, but sometimes when I use the rounding tool to smooth out those edges, it only makes it worse. So I'm still trying to figure out if there's someone online who shared a video about actually smoothing out those path work when you use it to merge two types of paths, but I haven't found that one yet. And I must say, when I do read a lot of online stuff from other people, and I see a lot of stuff from other people, and I do see a lot of people having trouble with the game crashing a lot. But I must say that in this video I had one crash, and that was when I probably put down too many foliage and rocks together. It crashes, but that's probably my second or third crash since Planet Coaster 2 came out. So I'm not complaining, but I can imagine how difficult it is when it does crash a lot. So hopefully that will be fixed very soon, so that everybody can play this amazing game and start creating their parks that they want. Now, as you can see over here, I am blending in some different types of trees which I used for the Viking area on one side, and then the tropical trees for the tropical area on the other side. And I think that gives a nice transition between the coaster, the Journey for Gemstone coaster on the background, and the tropical area on the front side. Now, one thing I'm not quite sure about if I'm going to add in theming to the two wheel attractions. I think it's quite hard to add in scenery to a big wheel. I'm probably going to add in some borders to the attraction instead of theming the whole attraction. And I chose for the yellow and brown and dark green colors in the big wheel, mostly because I think that blends in well with the Viking theme. And I do prefer to use a lot of not that bright colors, just the dark brown, yellow, green colors. Sometimes give it a little bit of a mix, and like in this case with the coral, by using some bright colors. And there is also one thing that it doesn't bother me, but it's a thing. How do I say that? It's you get the people walking around in their swimwear, and that is something that's kind of strange to me, because I know you got the swimming parks, but there are a lot of people walking around the park in their swimwear. Even when they're going into attractions, and hopefully it's a small detail, but it's kind of strange to see people walking in your park in their swimwear. They should just be wearing their swimwear when they go to the swimming pool areas, instead of going through the in this case the Viking area. It's kind of strange to see people walking in swimwear when they just cruise through that area. So hopefully Frontier can fix that in the future, and I'm not quite sure how they can do that, but maybe you can make an entrance for a swimming pool area, and when they enter the area they change to their swimwear, and when they exit the area they change back to their normal wear. So that will be a little bit more realistic than just walking around in your swimwear throughout the park. Now I know you can use the coral, or you should use the coral as a underwater element, but in this case I just wanted to up the surface a little bit by adding those coral elements, the larger coral elements, to the surface or on top of a rock, just to make it a little bit more special than just using them below the water. Now also over on this side, I do need to add in some more tropical theming in the backside of this attraction, rather than the Viking trees that were there in the first place. And so there you have it for today's episode of Sunshine Scandinavia. Now let's just go ahead and take a look at the things that we built today, and also the things that do need some attention in the future. And one of those is this small area over here, which I think the transition to the tropical area worked out quite well, but the entrance in front of those two shops just needs some more seating and maybe some planters for the guests to have a seat. And maybe a small transition between the pathwork over here. So maybe I'm going to use those canopies again in a different style to make those two paths just blend in nicely with the environment. So you got the first entrance to the tropical area over here. You got the second one, and in my opinion this is the main one for the whole new area over here. You got the three attractions, the Coral Reef Hotel and the two wheels over on this side. In the end of the video, which I didn't showcase in the speed build, I dropped some small toilets over on this section. I'm quite happy with the way this one worked out. I think this is just a nice new addition to Sunshine Scandinavia. I used different types of theming in this section than I did in the other parts of the park. And I love the coral, the way the coral just works mostly at night. So let's just go ahead and skip to the night time to see what it does. And I do see that I do need to add some more lighting over on the trees on this side. But I think the coral just works out perfectly in this section. You get different types of coral just showcasing in different types of ponds. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the way this area turned out, and it gives me so much ideas to work on the next section, which will come in a future video. Now the one thing that I'm going to do, and I'm probably not going to showcase that in a video, that will be the coral reef mining attraction, which will be over here. And I do need to work on that blueprint because it has over 4,000 pieces. So that attraction will probably be here when the next video starts. But for now, I want to thank you guys for watching. Yeah, hopefully you like this new area to Sunshine Scandinavia, and I can't wait to show you guys even more of this theming in the rest of the park. So thank you for now, and see you next time. Bye bye.